Good afternoon, everyone here in Tallinn, and still good morning to those in Warsaw. Hello to those online. It's a great pleasure for me to be here. So from this stage, I would like to firstly thank you to the Markit company and to the entire Markit team for inviting me and for hosting me on today's session on this great event, which is Markit Forum, and also for giving me a chance of bringing this topic which is overcoming challenges of the global partner model in IT procurement. So before I start talking about, I would say, this really interesting topic, let me again introduce quickly myself. I know Margus did it, but a little background story of myself. So my name is Damian, and I work for BCG based in Warsaw, but I'm the IT manager responsible for CE offices. CE system, and I've been working for BCG since 5 years. So I would say I started working for BCG as an IT specialist. So I know this topic that I'm bringing to you from, I would say, every aspect, because I touched this from a very basic level right now until the management level. So move on. Let me present as well quickly my company, which is BCG. BCG, as Margus mentioned, this is the Boston Consulting Group. It's a consulting services firm. And what is BCG? Who is BCG? BCG has been founded by Bruce Henderson in 1963, and come up with transformative and innovative solutions that are bringing to our clients. And also is very well known, this company, from developing software and some tools that's bringing our clients to the top. This is a prestigious company, I would say, and also this company is keeping the top place on the market from the consulting services firms. Talking about the BCG scale, BCG is located in more than 90 offices in 50 countries, and also my much smaller scale, which is CEE system. This is part of CE system, Central Europe system, but I'm responsible for 3 countries, Poland, Hungary, and Czech Republic, for the offices located in those capital cities, in capital cities of these countries, like Warsaw, where I'm based, and Budapest and Prague. So one of my top priority tasks I'm responsible for is IT procurement, keeping this service on the top quality level and maintaining this as much as I can, of course, but also sometimes I need very good support from the supplier side. All right. Also, before we will go to the real examples we struggled as a BCG, I'd like to bring to you some theory about selecting the good supplier for a large company like BCG is. And everything I will be presenting today will be based on my experience and based on my observation, based on my team's observations. But yes, let's think about this question: why supplier selection is so complicated in large company, for example, like BCG. And here is my statement. Here you can find my 3 bullet points. And the first one, I would agree that selecting the good supplier is complicated because in such a big firms, we've got very long processes of approving those suppliers. So this is the first statement. So I will be talking about this first point a little bit later, but you will see why it's so complicated because of this. Then we've got strict restrictions set by our local finance team from the company side, and also we've got strict regulations and limitations predicted by the government, by the financial law, and also the other limitations, like sometimes it is delivery also that is predicted to the country. And the third point, in my opinion, the most important point, is delivering of the highest possible quality to our employees, because I'm doing everything the best for my employees, which are consulting staff. And I have to make sure that I'm delivering the high quality control services to them. So we do not always look at the cheapest prices, cheapest proposals, but we look at the quality service, which is the delivery speed, which is the price transparency. It can be flexibility when we are talking about some regulations and limitations we have to have approved in my company. But yes, let's talk a little bit about this point further. Now let's move back to the first point. So here you can see the real example of the CEE IT procurement process we have in BCG. So you can see the real example, how much time we have to spend to get the supplier approved, and how many of the bullet points, regulations is there. So this is a process, this is a flow chart for every single new supplier or not regular supplier. So once we have one supplier approved, it's okay for us to skip the process because the supplier is approved, we can trust to the supplier, and just making the orders. But before that, we have to be sure that the supplier we are cooperating with is the reliable entity. So it's basically to show you how much complicated it is. And also some complicated requirements for suppliers from the finance side and from the government side. So I'm not going through all of this list, but every single bullet point of this have to be met on the level of approving the supplier, the possible supplier. And basically, we are focusing on terms of payments, scope of work, timing, delivery speed, conflict resolution procedures, confidentiality, risk, NDAs, everything is here. And it's not so simple, and our process is not for every supplier we can cooperate with. And based on my examples, based on my observations and strategy we did together with our teams, we created this slide, what to pay attention when we are starting working with a new supplier. And I would say, this is a good summary that you should start. You can start thinking about that, but this is my observation, my gold solution for finding the best supplier. And that is delivering, of course, the IT hardware. And we are starting with marketplace platform. So it's important for us to have an available marketplace platform, like one source of truth, like one place where we can find everything, from making the orders until doing the reporting and planning the budgets. So it's important to focus on the marketplace availability from the supplier side. Then global partners. What is it? The scale of BCG, BCG as a firm is a global company, so you can imagine that based on the global level, we've got negotiated special prices with the manufacturers we are cooperating, and we've got the dedicated hardware catalog we can buy. So, for example, from the manufacturer, we expect the special prices, and from the supplier that is delivering us this hardware, we expect approving these prices and having these prices available for us. So that's why it's so important of having good connections between the global manufacturers and the suppliers. Then we are going to the proven approach tailored to our needs. So this is very, I would say, generic bullet point, but this is everything on top of the other points I'm presenting here. So you have to be just confident with the supplier that you cooperate with. Good relationship with the clients. Also, there is nothing better we like of having good relationship to our supplier. We can talk easily to them. You know that the supplier listens our needs and respects them. Transparency. This is super important because we like to see everything black on white. The prices, the delivery times, availability of the hardware, and of course, you know, the comparison, the reporting solutions we can have. You know, this is very well connected to the marketplace bullet point because basically on the marketplace, everything, you can have this. And having a person dedicated to your company, not like having a special team, because, you know, when you have multiple people that are responsible for your company, then responsibility is going down, I would say. I really love to have one person, you know, that I can speak with and sending my needs, sending my requests and my expectations. All right. And from these theory slides, right now we are moving to the problems we have seen in the global partner model and why we started doing our analysis in Poland, because we started in Poland and I was trying to distribute them to the other my countries. But basically, communication and collaboration with global partners, such when I'm talking, just to be on the same page, when I'm talking about the global partners, I'm talking about partners like huge partners, Amazon, Insight, you know, eBay. So this is the scale. And we as BCG, we've been a little bit, I wouldn't say forced, but recommended by our global structures. We've been recommended to start using one of the global partner. And unfortunately, this partner didn't fit to our local needs, to our local terms and conditions. We've got predicted by the government, like the taxation. And giving you the real example of this, for example, we had a situation that we were waiting for a correct invoice 6 months because they didn't approve our description field, you know, where we had to have filled the details of the item we bought. And from one side, we weren't able to pay the invoices because the invoice was incorrect for us based on our needs. Even it was a global partner approved by BCG, but they didn't understand that here in Poland, we have to have this, you know, because of the depreciation of the hardware. We have to confirm to our government that, for example, this is laptop and it will be depreciated in 3 years, right? So that was one example, and you know, it generated a lot of frustration, a lot of communication traffic. Finally, they managed this, but through the 6 months, we weren't able to use our hardware because of the internal policy. So when the invoice is not paid, don't unbox the hardware because you never know. Maybe you will have to return the hardware to the vendor. So that was the first example. The other, you know, some things, and again, I'm referring to this, that we've been forced a little bit of having this partner, but some things that are working in USA, in Germany, in China, in some other countries, that business traffic is pretty high. Those things won't be working in the smaller European countries like Poland, Czech Republic, and Hungary. So this is my observation, and you will see on the summary on the next slide that I summarized this a little bit. The other example was that they inserted wrong tax number on the invoice. So again, a lot of communication traffic, frustration. You know, it consumed a lot of my time, a lot of my team's time. the support from the global partner replied like weekly for our needs. So it was a nightmare. And the other thing, there was one nice example, because the global partner thought that Poland, I don't know what they thought, but Poland is maybe part of Germany, and you've got the same tax percentage. But no, Germany has 90%, we've got 23%, and also, they settled our invoices wrongly. So we've been frustrated and tired of this. So that's why we started looking for a local supplier with global presence, or global supplier with local presence, not global supplier, just a global supplier. And here you've got some, I would say, bullet points. I observed, I noticed, like local supplier, in my opinion, is client and firm oriented, and not like a global supplier, just a centralized mode with any knowledge of the local market. It's easier to communicate with local supplier and human versus bot. It's not always bot, but sometimes it's, as I've mentioned, it's a team where responsibility is going down, unfortunately. If you have one person that is dedicated, it's perfect. He knows you, he knows your needs, and nothing more you need. It's with the local supplier, quality control is easier to manage, I would say, because they've got the local procedures to check this. Also, understanding the local restrictions, it can fit only with the local supplier who is already in the country located, and he already has to know the local restrictions. And yes, this is unfortunately sad, but what I observed that global suppliers are focused on the scale, not for every single order we make. And the real story, a real story with it. So we did our own job together with my teams, and we started thinking about why complexity was and still is complicated for BCG. So you can imagine that as an IT team, the digital is growing up, agile is growing up. As a IT teams, we received more responsibilities every day, and of course, some of those responsibilities are more automated, but some of them not. And unfortunately, if you are talking about IT procurement in BCG, the automation and IT procurement is not equal. So that's why we had to start thinking about possible solutions that, of course, and then I have to start thinking that, global supplier didn't start thinking about my needs, but right now I'm looking for a local supplier with a global presence that have to meet my needs. So yes, we started doing this. We came to the second phase, which was the analyzing phase. So we were checking all of the terms and conditions that supplier can offer us. We were checking the taxation limitations. We had some restrictions that they had to meet, and definitely, I was forcing for a local presence of having the supplier in the country. And little asterisk here. Right now, I'm talking only about Poland because the Polish office, Warsaw office, is the biggest in my system. But once we found the good supplier, and you can assume who is it? This is Markit, and we found this. We started promoting this to my other countries because for me, as an IT manager, it's very important to follow not 3 different policies for every single country I'm responsible for, but is to follow one policy, one procedure. It's easier to understand for me, for my teams, for my stakeholders that I have to report regularly. the process and of course the budget I'm responsible for. So it was easier to have it just once. And as you already saw the flow chart, we went across of approving the supplier. We did just once because if we accept this supplier for the other countries, automatically this supplier is approved. So why BCG right now in my system loves having a marketplace solution? So this is definitely a product selection. So this is on the marketplace website. You can find always the most suitable hardware, the most updated prices, the most updated delivery times. So everything black and white, as I mentioned, in one place. Then delivery speed, because mostly marketplace suppliers, they work with various warehouses, storages. They can offer you very quick delivery, door to door, even on the same day. Order accuracy. I'm honest right now with you, and I can tell you that I've never had a wrong order that has been provided, once I started working with Markit, which is super great. Myself as an end user, I'm super satisfied. I don't touch it, and I'm fully confident that they do the right things. Easy of rollout and shares. So as I mentioned, developing the same solution to the other countries. Pricing transparency, again repeated here, but this is what I really love, and having the most updated prices, having the special prices available on the marketplace. I don't need to check with the vendors, are they okay or they are not okay, or why are they not okay, or the margin is too high. I don't need to do that. It's super cool. And planning the future, mostly with marketplace, you've got a lot of nice reporting tools. You can forecast the budget, you can plan the next year budget, you can check how much you spend, how much you can still spend, what do you need to buy, you can plan the order, basically. So this is super nice. And also what is not written here, I would say having different levels of accesses and permissions for my teams. So for example, I'm the approver, but my colleague from my team can be a buyer, so I still have a control of checking this. So this is super cool. I mean, nothing stays only in the emails. And this is basically what I wanted to share, my examples, my resources that I had for you. So I would say, Marketplace gives you a lot of resources and gives you a lot of nice functions, reporting tools, analyzing tools you can use for daily work, and you can definitely save your time of working with a marketplace. But on top of having a good platform, is good to have a good relationship with the partner who knows your needs. So I'm staying on the stage here for probably answer a few Q&A questions for the Q&A session, but also I'm leaving my phone number if you're interested with the story that I presented and you want to stay in touch with me. Just make a note and we can talk about this story or any other stories or examples or my shares in the future. So thank you very much for the official part.